Good evening, everybody. Please join in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm not gonna follow the agenda. We got some business to do, so we're gonna get right to it, so people can sign checks and go on. I'll let you take it. You wanna?
Sure. I'll introduce you to Tamara Dwyer. She's, is that I pronounce it correctly? Tamara, sorry. That's okay. Okay. And I'm sorry about the last name, actually. She's from Banking, New Hampshire, and we've spoken to Elaine and myself about going to direct deposit. And she had provided the authority level options, and we had requested ACH approval for Darlene and myself. And you all signed that memo 2 weeks ago, and it went to Elaine. So basically you want to, you have, it's yours now, right? You said you wanted to talk to the board before you approve ACH.
ACH, actually Tim could probably explain it better. You have different levels of control, and one of the concerns obviously is giving control to both initiate and sign checks from one party or one location. So some of the issues that have been happening at other towns is that when there's a sole responsibility, that those individuals can actually input information and send transactions to places where they shouldn't be going, more like fraud or abuse kind of things. So to protect the town, instead of doing dual control within the town office, it will be initiate and we'll sign, much like we do now. They initiate the checks, we sign them. They'll initiate the deposit and we'll sign them.
And I did reach out to Municipal Managers Association, and most of the people who come back said that's normal process. The treasurer does that. So it varies by town, of course.
Yeah.
Every town's different, but yeah. Several of them, it's normal business to have a treasurer approve them.
So Tam could probably speak to
Yeah,
what
you
has
guys,
happened.
you guys did a great job explaining it. So, most recently with the town of Peterborough, and the fraudulent transactions that occurred, it was because the transactions were not done using dual control. So that one individual was able to initiate the transaction and send it without somebody having a second set of eyes, which currently is how the town of Effingham is set up. So we had talked about how this would be a great option to help protect the assets for the town and create some oversight so that we can try to avoid situations like this in the future. I can tell you with every other municipality that I work with, they did move to dual control for ACH transactions. So that's what we're having a conversation today. So as long as everyone's on board, Elaine and I can certainly talk about. Yeah, I've got all kinds of stuff. I already have tokens and everything. So if you decide to move forward, we can get it all set up and taken care of today.
Deanne is here too because they changed the profits for her as well, so that it's doing the same thing.
Yeah, so nothing's going to change for me other than I won't see this, but Elaine or David will get an alert. They will have to go in and approve it. So what will change, I guess, is I'll come in the next day and print my report for my auditor.
And you don't suppose you have reporting capability that if I needed to print a report for a time range, you tell me who did what when?
Yes, so we're able to see who initiated and who approved. And you folks can actually.
Yeah, we can see that as well.
As well.
And does it go through whether it's like, it has to be approved before it goes
That is
through?
correct, yes.
Just like the check now has to be signed before you can cash it, like that blank one that you got for Chuck last week.
So You would,
I didn't sign that.
you would authorize the payment and Dave would,
Nope, Deanna would initiate the payment and
Or-
one or the other of us
Okay.
would sign off on it. And we're able to set up alerts so that when there's activity, we'll be alerted that someone's logged on and that we can go in and actually see what took place and take care of it at that time. It can come, it does come right to my phone right now.
And how much time do you have between the time you're alerted and to sign it off? Like what?
Well, it would be like.
I mean,
any
that
other
means you're-
manifest. I do it once a week, but I would do Deanna's daily or whenever she submits them, because that's the requirement for the state. But for manifest, we would do direct deposit for payroll once a week.
And is there a time limit as to when she can?
No, I got permission from the state to do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And that's what they sign.
And that's okay. Right. And if you're not available, he will get it too.
That would be correct.
so it's good to me.
I'm good. Implement.
What do you need from us? I know Darlene couldn't be here tonight. She's really concerned with getting your help on the setup
Absolutely.
and what it looks like.
So I came with instructions that you guys can share,
Yeah.
as well as the tokens, and Elaine and I can talk about the authorities and talk about authority limits for dollar amounts. So we can definitely work on that piece for you, so you can make sure. we-
That was significantly already. You said we have more than enough.
Correct, yes, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
yes, I know.
Yeah, we never come in.
We went back and reviewed just to make sure we didn't need to increase
Yeah,
that your.
thanks for doing that. Yeah. Okay. Do you need me to come with you now or you're gonna leave me stuff?
Absolutely.
And
I can leave the tokens with Elaine and she can distribute, or vice versa.
so the token I already have and the token Barbara has will continue to.
That's correct, okay, that's correct.
Okay, perfect. Good. So how quickly, because we're hoping to do it for our next payroll in 2 weeks.
So once I submit the paperwork, it typically takes about 2 business days.
Okay, perfect.
That's quick.
Yes,
Yeah, that's if we signed it today, it would be really good.
yes, and submit it first thing tomorrow morning.
So do you need us or them to sign anything? Okay.
Oh, I don't need that approval. I see how this goes.
I'm the custodian, you're the fiduciary.
Yeah. Okay,
I have nothing.
I'm good.
I guess I'm good. Well, from what I understand, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I think I should look at stuff before you leave. So you'll all be recorded, so I'll set out with Sam for a minute. Okay.
Okay,
Right, perfect. Thank you.
you're good, Deanna?
I'm good, yes,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve the selectmen's minutes, May 24th, 2022.
Hold on a second.
Then moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion to approve the non-public minutes for May 24th.
I'll second it.
Then moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion to approve the manifest dated June 2nd, the amount of $324,587.49.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Full eye.
Aye. The school payment.
Mm.
That's why there's so much. 220-some-thousand. In the mail folder, we had a report from NRRA up till May 25th. And dredge and fill wetlands permit for Providence Lake Road in the South River Bridge. Okay, Audrey's not here, so you got anything, Chuck, you want to bring up?
Let's see, tree limb, I did some homework on today, at the library. I'll follow up on that one to figure out what happened and how it got removed. I had down Beaver South River, you met with.
Yeah, did that.
What was his thought, basically?
He wasn't concerned about South River because he said it's big enough. And there's plenty of place for the amount of volume to go. So he was more concerned he went up to look at the one on Town's Road.
Yeah.
Of course, he's telling us those grates we had made, they're not gonna work. He said small beaver can go right through them, but I see he's trying to sell his product, but I says, well, we've got money invested in it. We're gonna use it, and if it don't work, we'll get back to it. And he said if we could do more than one, we could get them cheaper. So I don't know if that's something maybe the Providence Lake Association might be interested in, if they get any money or not, because right down in South River right there, they could use some.
Whereabouts at Bailey Road or?
Yeah, going from
Yeah,
Dale
low
Road.
into that marsh.
Okay, well, their annual meeting is usually the summer, July, August. So that'd probably be a good
You
point.
belong to that?
Yeah.
So maybe you could just touch base with them, see if that's something they'd be interested in.
Sure.
It comes from Vermont, so he said, one of them could, be $4,000. And, if you get 8 or 10 of them, you could stay down there and get them cheaper that way. So,
Well, if you had some prices or something, a little more information, I'll grab that from you whenever you have it available.
Under the
Yeah.
internet site, I'll forward you the.
Okay.
yeah.
Right.
He didn't give us, he didn't even walk down South River. He says, I don't need to see it. He says,
Well, now that Mike took the dam out completely, that's the lowest water.
Yeah,
it's
no.
been in over a year.
so, but he said he would do it if we wanted. And I said, well, we're gonna try these beaver grates first and see how they work. That solves a problem and good, but I told him in the meantime, and try to find out from the Providence Lake Association if there's something they'd be interested in.
So
So,
are you talking to Mike Stevens or somebody else?
no, this Skip Lyles,
Skip's the,
Beaver Deceiver guy.
I don't know, that's his company.
Okay,
They, Mike and Skip have not talked, they're not work.
oh, okay. Because if Mr. Stevens had any interactions here with this gentleman, it'd be helpful, because I know he does work for beaver removal, Mike does, for the Providence Lake Association.
Yeah, he does actually, does all parapelling, part of the rafting down.
Yeah, he
It's
gets
for the state too.
gets around. But I'm just thinking if there was somebody who might be able to speak to the merits of that installation, Mike would probably be, the guy.
Yeah.
As he works for them now, and obviously he's on the front lines of the beaver situation over there for the lake folks. But I'll bring it to him.
You'll forward that information.
I will forward that information. I've got 2 more questions for you before Audrey gets back.
What do you get, Vicky?
Just that went to a court case a couple of days last week, long hours. And wondered what was going on with what we were doing with the 500-gallon barrel. Did we decide on putting that, giving that to our,
information, and I did not see that email until I started doing emails last night. So I forwarded her all the contact information from Midwest Industrial. So I'm sure today.
And we're not sure whether she contacted about the spill container, right? To stop.
Yeah,
Right.
it's different. But she did in here and said she canceled it, so.
Oh,
Cancel it,
Okay, yeah.
cancel then. So,
yeah, okay. All right. Other than that, I guess.
I had all that contact information at home. I told her I'd get it to her and walked right out without it tonight. I did meet with the Clean Harbors guy. You're gonna be telling Audrey that I think he wanted to get back on paved roads, back into the city.
But they are taking them, right?
He said he said they wouldn't test them, they'll just come in and pick them up. He said, if you told me it was drain oil, and I said, well, that's what the fire chief said, not me. Dale Smith did start on Green Mountain Road today. He'll probably be most of the rest of the week there. I got a hold of the logging company there, Keel. Guy's supposed to look at the damage on the snow road. They did cold patch it. I don't know why, but Ron must have seen it or somebody saw it, sent the guys out today. And Deanna wants us to say that dogs are to be licensed by May 1st. So probably the fines will be going out or whatever. Tax bills are out, so it says they're on the kayaks also. All right, wait till Audrey gets back. Mike, you're gonna give us an update on that.
Yeah, and before I jump in, I'll just tell you, if R&D's coming to town anytime soon. There were a few repairs that were looked at Green Mountain, some little damaged areas. They've got a small machine that might be able to do repairs,
Yeah.
like a decent repair versus cold patch.
Well, I want to see if this Keel's gonna pay for it.
Yeah, you stopped by, was that last Monday afternoon? And we wanted me to look at some field assessments for culverts. So I got out there, and that's to go after some last minute funding. So I chased down a number of culverts, and I found about 4, possibly 5, that depending what the criteria is really going to break down to be once we get into this, that we would probably look to chase. So I gave Chris Fournier the information on those, and he's got till tomorrow to get the letters out for the letters of intent. One of the ones, I looked at 2 on High Watch Road, because I mentioned to you, Lenny, there's that one all the way at the top. It's a pretty interesting culvert, and Chris was looking to try and make the case to be able to do a repair there. The culvert isn't bad, but it is rusting out at the bottom. It's like a 48-inch culvert. So if we were able to get funds to replace that, it would be worth doing, well, somebody else is gonna pay for it. Because once you get a certain size culvert, it gets pretty pricey. And then there's the other one down on High Watch at Winter Road. There, it's concrete on one end, corrugated on the other, so something's patched together in there. Be nice to get that. Bob's Road was another one. And I looked at Clough, the big corrugated one out there, it usually gets beaver damage. So I turned it over to Chris to see what he could do with it.
Wilkinson Swamp, right? No.
And I turned over Wilkinson Swamp first and foremost. So what Chris and I had talked about was a 2-pronged approach. One was trying to submit this culvert as it is, Wilkinson Swamp, in with all these others. But we're going to have to pass on Bailey Road getting in for the other big culvert grant this year, unfortunately. I mean, we were the town to beat by the criteria. We really rated high on this. But you can't start before March of next year. And it doesn't look like there's any way to get a waiver for that to do the work at first and get retroactive. I did run in a bunch of questions to Ben Sweeney on that. Haven't got an answer back, but I did have a phone conversation with him. And initially, it seems like it's not how the program's designed. But we have 2 large culverts, basically the same size. The whole situation at Wilkinson Swamp for a culvert replacement is about the same as Robbins Lake. It just doesn't have all the nice criteria we had at the lake to make us a real strong candidate, but it is a candidate. So Chris said that he could do some work on that to help us put a grant in for it, but it takes some field evaluations. The rub on that is that's not free. He probably wouldn't cost a lot of money for him to do it. I'm willing to talk to whomever about that. The benefit in it is that we might need to do something down there anyway. We know it's in tough shape. So whatever money we spend, hopefully would stay, valid for going forward. And if we did somehow manage to get the money for this culvert, you have 3 years after you're awarded it before you have to actually spend it. So there's a nice window of time there pushing for the town. So that's pretty much the gist on most of that. The other thing I did was I pulled out the old culvert report that they did, Conservation Commission way back mid 2000s. I've got a few culverts to go around and update my logs on, but we started with 54 culverts. 18 of them were basically the state, one of which was Remick Road, private road. So that brought us down to like 36 culverts that the town had to deal with. So when you take out these bigger ones that we're talking about, and a number of them that have been replaced already, I think we're going to be in about the 12 range of culverts, most of which will be smaller culverts. A lot of them will be done as road reconstruction goes on various roads, because they're not an immediate threat to any kind of real damage, you know. So as far as cleaning that up from all that work that was done years ago, culverts are really shaping up pretty well. So it's up to you guys what you want to do about Wilkinson Swamp. I'd suggest you have a quick call with Chris Fournier and see if you want to invest some money, and if that's really would be good money to spend in his opinion going forward. Because the culverts down there, they're often underwater. We know that the structure's breaking down.
Yeah, the one closest to Clough Road's only half flowing.
Yeah,
It's flowing very slow.
well, I was out at the big one on Clough, and it didn't have a lot of water on, you know, coming down at this point, but.
Yeah, Wilkinson.
Oh, yeah, Wilkinson's, yeah, that's another, you know, there's gonna be debris and stuff down in there. But it's breaking apart to some degree. A lot of it happens too, I think, when we get some beaver stuff in there and you're ramming logs through it. It's not really the best practice, but it is what it is. It's gonna need to be replaced sooner or later. If we were able to get funding to, they're giving out $400,000 on average they're looking at for a project, so you'll never get a better deal than that, whether we qualify for it, you know, in this competition. From its lake, you had a lake, you had an impaired lake, the headwaters, their emergency culvert already in their repair. So you just had so many different things going in our favor. State money has been thrown at the projects over there on the lake a lot. It was a really, generate really high, but timeline. I couldn't possibly ask you guys to wait. It's too dangerous to push that culvert out. But that's it on where that one's
Yeah,
going.
Chris did say that the letters of intent were pretty simply do them for nothing, but anything we want to pursue after that, he'd come in and give us an estimate on. So.
Right. So the thing with the Wilkinson Swamp, again, the culvert size is going to be similar to what you're doing at Province Lake, so it will not be inexpensive. So it's probably worth giving a call out to him, seeing what he thinks about pursuing that. Because we do have a short window. Again, it's July 1st filing date. So the sooner you can get him out there, the sooner we can get working on that. Get something done.
Okay, we can discuss that. We used to have a work session next week. Yeah, we can talk about that.
Gonna come in early in the morning and gonna do a Tuesday morning one, work session.
Yeah. Anytime Tuesday, whatever works for everybody.
Well,
What's your schedule?
I don't know right now. As far as I know, I'm available.
Just do it first thing in the morning, then you can go to your job after that.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so do it 9
No,
o'clock.
I'm done with that joke.
9 o'clock next Tuesday. Does that work for you, Chuck?
Yes. Oh, no, actually, I'm calling with Elcha at 10. I gotta do a Zoom call with Grant. There's no way I get down here.
Different day, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday work for you, Vicky?
Is that the
8,
8?
Yeah.
Afternoon is not.
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. fine.
Okay.
You want to see what did Chris on the phone call?
Yeah, he's available.
9:10 or something.
Would you reach out to him?
Yeah. Do you have anything more, Mike?
Well,
I'm sure you do.
well, It's just around some of the goings on last week's meeting. I wasn't in the room, but I did get a heads up to watch the video, and I did. So with that, I would just like to say, I'd like to set the record straight, because you had a caller call in who we have a court case going on with actively. So in my view, I think the call should have got shut down right away. But the caller stipulated that there was a restraining order against the town's health officer. I'm not sure if it was me as an individual and the health officer, not really sure. But the paperwork that did arrive here, it's not from the court. It's court documents, but that individual just put a bunch of things in paper. I can tell you none of it's true. I mean, it's just seriously not true at all. And she mailed them in here. And there's no restraining order. This individual can't issue her own restraining order.
This court can do that.
And as part of the court case, our attorney brought it up with the judge, who apparently the judge is aware of paperwork, and said that that would be taken up at a later point in time. So I'm not sure it's going to see the light of day. It's been 21 days since supposedly that went in, and the judge is quite familiar with everything that goes on. So you have to have a hearing on the merits, and I'm not too worried about that. But there's no restraining order, as well as I can tell you. If I'll give you this. I had a conversation with Matt Kaling at DHHS, and Gary's over on the other page. So I asked him if he wouldn't mind sending an email for the board, just so you can be up to date with conversations the same individual had with him, and basically threatened a restraining order against the Department of Health and Human Services over the case that's going on. I know, Chuck, I know. She's well known there. She went up there a few months ago and visited with the folks up there. So it's just been passed on to the legal department as of today. They haven't heard any more on the issue, but there's no restraining order. There's no service, unless one of you has gotten served or the town has been served by the sheriff's department. I have not. There's no paperwork, and like I said, I think the delay in being served is kind of, or it speaks, the silence is different. So that's pretty much all. Well, no, I did have one last thing on that. Just so you're aware, I know a lot of money was put to this whole issue as to statements on how much it's cost the town. Those statements are greatly exaggerated. Now, the town has spent a pretty fair amount of money, but nothing like what's been stated. I will say in the petition that I started here, there's provisions under the law for certain cases to recoup legal fees. And that is in the front page of the petition that's being asked. Doesn't say we'll get them, doesn't say we'll win the case. I'm just saying it's a provision in there. So addressing whatever the money may be on legal fees is a little premature to say what's going to happen. Nobody knows, the court decides.
Was it one of the court orders where the judge basically said there was a probability that the case would be found for the town, and we were allowed to do a $15,000 lien for fees?
That was back specific to a situation with the septic system, but the filing, I'll give you a copy here. This is the front page, the first page of the filing, and I think you'll see what you need to see in that very bold statement at the top. So I won't comment on how I think the case has been proceeding, but it's all up to the courts. There's a potential for recouping legal fees, but I wouldn't speak on it. That just got nothing more to say about it.
I would say because the case is still going on, right?
Well, that's a public document, so anybody can.
All right, Audrey, we'll go back to you. Now that you're back.
Thank you. It was important that I stepped out, so thank you. Rebecca sent her first notice of violation since we had discussed actually finding people. So this one was for 68 New Hampshire 153, that building that's partially down.
Yeah.
And the fines are $275 a day. We know that they received the certified mail, so the first invoice to go out is for 15 days. And do you want me to go ahead and start sending those?
Yeah.
Okay. And we're wondering, should we send them weekly?
I think that's one of the more toward
Bi-weekly, we're doing it bi-weekly.
Okay,
Hey,
twice a month.
all right. And then the easements on Bailey Road, I almost fell over today. The person who I haven't been able to reach at all, she came for a dump sticker and I was like, your name's really familiar. Your name's really familiar. And then I finally put it together. The gentleman, King, Mr. King, is deceased. His daughter is the executor, and the woman who came in was his sister. She took the paperwork and is hand carrying it to the daughter. She's the executor and the new owner of that property, so hopefully we'll get it real soon. And I have to look up or see if you still have the number for the person on the other side, the Spencers.
I'm sure I do. I will find it.
Okay. And I did give you the budget to actual and the taxes that have come in on the new tax bill. They're starting to roll in already. And I could not do my typical summary because the internet's been down here, so no phones and internet. Hopefully Consolidated has those corrected tomorrow by noon time. And for people who don't know, it was a fiber cable that came down. They hypothesized that a boat coming into the campground was too high and pulled it down. Let's see, I gave you the quote for the street signs. Clean Harbors came today, and if you've already given your reports and I'm repeating, let me know.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just wanted to get back to civilization.
Right, okay. Let's see. The transfer station did get back to me and the town could apply for a new permit and be able to store more oil and store it for longer. So if you did want to move forward after the building gets environmentally sealed, we would be able to go forward for a new permit at that time, but.
How long's the extension?
She said it's unlimited, so you'd be able to, that 500-gallon tank from what Chuck sent, looks like it's 2 portions.
Mhm.
So you'd be able to fill 1 portion. Mark said, if you got 50 gallons a month, that would be a lot. So it would
Right.
still take you,
I can only even see it's getting 50 gallons a year.
so. You want me to still go ahead and see if I can find a buyer for that tank?
That was the plan.
Okay. I did find someone who's, she works at an auto parts store. Her manager, does the racing circuit, so he's checking with racetracks and stuff.
And you have to email with the contact.
I did.
information, so-
I did, thank you, yeah. Let's see. Still, we've gotten some of the things that the auditors needed, we've gotten those out to them. I'm scheduled to be out tomorrow. Chuck, I need to clarify something on the cobalt contract with you, so, you're back, I guess we'll do that. So that's it, like I said, I'm pretty much out tomorrow, then you all have training here on Thursday morning. So I'll be here all day Thursday, and out again Friday.
Did you print the 2 letters for the broadband stuff?
Yeah, advisory Friday. No,
The 2 letters, okay, then I will find that email. And, Did you hear anything back on the Golden grant for the police department? Fire department? Do you guys want to go after anything? If not, I'm going after the whole 50.
I think Chief Harmon put in for the whole 50. I don't know if you want to see that.
I just wanted an answer to my email.
Yeah, I thought he did reply to you, but it was all repairs to the station, I believe, or enhancements to the station, like having a washer dryer and different things.
Audrey, what's the thing Thursday?
That was the zoning, so
Oh,
you were invited, Dave's coming, you were invited, Mike, Dave Hines, Rebecca, so it's about zoning enforcement and
Is that this Thursday?
this Thursday at 9. So,
I'm on.
yeah,
9 to what?
I just 9 to noon.
9 to noon.
I'm not making popcorn.
I'm not sure I can make it.
Okay. I'm sure they'll have handouts.
I was gonna say, because you said that it was,
Yeah. I think
Mostly
Jim
for zoning
Jim
and-
Pittman's coming too. That's all I have. And hopefully Darlene will be back next week. She's recovering.
Everybody say your road sign quote. We'll do that. for the work session.
We're gonna do that next week as well, in the work
Yeah,
session.
in the work
Okay.
session.
Just so when you look at it, there's one that's a private sale,
Yeah.
back page way private, and Mr. Eldridge is gonna pay for that.
'Cause we only have real quick 1,300 or something in the signs. What?
Yeah, I think it's 1,300 and the quote came in at 2,000.
2000. Yeah.
So we'll just decide what signs we want to get. After
I
looking
thought
at
you
what-
might, you could also take the money out of the transfer station, use the oil program that we had.
Yeah, we can talk about that. at
Yeah.
the work session. If they don't have the round posts, where the heck did they get the round posts?
I don't know where you get skins. No,
Oh, I thought they came from the state.
he said no.
I have to find the bracket that goes on top to put the sign on. Have to look in that book. See what they-
The highway garage might have some answers to, because they got mine.
Road sign, that's okay. Possibly has some to lend us.
Where do you get it, Chris, you know?
We actually just got a new sign company here in Concord. It's not a very big shop and we just recently made a purchase of street signs and posts from them because it was less than a third of the cost of what we're getting from the state prison. We stopped using the round sign posts years ago just because you could not get them, number one. And number two, the brackets were 2 to 3 times the amount of money as the standard W posts that you see state uses. And I can get you guys that information. We just got a sign order last week. So and it was crazy how much cheaper it was.
Do you know?
Could you get that on it? Thank you,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thanks.
And they have everything great stuff. That being the brackets, the signposts.
I'll send that out tomorrow if I can, or Thursday latest, and if they turn it around, maybe in the work session, you'll have a comparison.
Okay.
You said you're not here tomorrow, right?
Right, yeah,
So I can jump to 11 tomorrow.
Yeah, get it to me and I can get it to Audrey.
thank you.
Thanks. I'll open it up to public comment. Please keep it civil. State your name for the record.
Vicky Garso.
Okay.
The little saplings that are coming out all over the place, who's responsible for giving those a little haircut so we can see turning onto Green Mountain from High Watch, and some of the road signs are totally covered, and
Dale Smith's on Green Mountain Road. They started today.
will he be coming all the way up
They're
toward
gonna
High
do-
Watch?
They're gonna trim
You
everything.
know that annoying triangle? You can't
They
see.
started at the daycare today, came towards 25.
Okay.
Tomorrow they're going back.
So he's gonna cut those?
Yeah.
Oh, good, good.
And plus a couple, few dead trees that need to come down. So he'll be there most of the week. If you see him, just, you can ask him
Well, only
if he
because
plans on
even if
taking.
we're taking the left, you have to pull out into the street to see if anybody's coming up that hill.
Yeah.
And it's pretty dangerous.
He'll be on that hill starting tomorrow. So you'll probably hear him.
Great, okay.
Chris,
Chris Stevens, 120 Moody Road. First of all, thank you very much for moving your meetings to a more convenient time for us working folks to be able to attend. I appreciate it. Hopefully it's a good turnout every week as the word travels and folks continue to do this. Secondly, I was just curious what the application schedule was for calcium chloride. The reason why I asked is over the last 2 weeks, I've driven almost every dirt road in the town. And almost every dirt road in the town, calcium chloride has been applied except for Moody Road. And I wondered why.
well, they haven't done Moody Road. They haven't done Clough, Nutter, Granite. They put out one load and they did what they could with that road. They did Hobbs Road, they did Jack Russell Road. They did what they could with, and they did Plantation Road, whatever the first load took. And then they wanted to get enough graded so they could take another truck. And I thought they'd be putting some out today, but they didn't. Ron calls the calcium people directly when he's got enough graded. So I think there's probably enough graded. So.
By my question, I'm not complaining, to be perfectly honest with you, for anybody that's been to my house. They call Chicago the Windy City. My house is the windy property in town because the wind probably predominantly comes out of the west, so dust does not affect me.
Yeah.
It does, however, affect the rest of the neighbors. I was just curious. And when it does come time to grade our road, there are two large, I believe they must be rocks pushing up through. So I think it would be kind of productive to grade the road without addressing the rocks that come up through. You literally have to straddle the two rocks, they're huge humps that probably, without sounding too extravagant, whatever, about the half the size of the power pole. And they stick up 5 to 6 inches. Between Dickie Thompson's, sorry, I don't know his address, I should, but in the corner. Obviously, you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. So.
I'm sure Kevin's aware of it, and I'm sure Ron's aware of it.
Yeah, the last time they graded, they weren't there, and, when the frost was coming on the ground, they weren't there, and there was usually a sinkhole that we addressed ourselves every year, and this year it was 2 big rocks that were pushing it through boulders, so.
Yeah, I'm sure Kevin will be aware of it.
He will be aware of it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they might need some material up there, so I don't know. I don't know if they hauled any, I don't think they hauled any that I know of.
Not this year, in the
Yeah.
past. they have.
But not this year. Okay, yeah, I'll mention it to Ron. And Kevin's probably already mentioned it, Kevin rides the roads, I think, as much as Ron does. Okay. Anybody else have anything?
Just, since there's a possibility folks might be meeting on Thursday, any chance that you guys could make a quick connection with Chris Fournier on Wilkinson Swamp? I doubt it would take 15 minutes. Save you having to come in next
I
week.
actually asked Audrey to do that.
Oh, did you?
She
Oh.
goes to sign.
Okay, so they give us another 5 days to try and process anything if we move forward. So, thanks.
Anything else? Anybody wants to add? No. Do we have any need for non-public?
Yes,
Okay.
91A32 sub C.
Make a motion to win non-public for RSA 91A:3 2C.
Oh, second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. We won't be doing anything else after that, so. Yeah. We can go home.
You don't have to go home.
Right. I can't see if you want to stay here.
Heard about that one time.
Make the motion to come out of non-public.
Oh, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Make the motion to seal the minutes forever.
Oh, yes. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Now I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye, Kathleen. Wow, was that a whirlwind meeting tonight?
No, you almost gonna have very long reports.
Now, before we leave,